Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, unraveling the mysteries of the past and shedding light upon the triumphs and tribulations of human civilization. Today, we find ourselves at the threshold of one of history's most pivotal moments, the Battle of the Persian Gates, a clash of titans that would forever alter the trajectory of empires and leave an indelible mark on the fabric of our collective heritage. As we delve into this captivating narrative, let us first set our gaze upon the vast expanse of the ancient world, where the mighty Achaemenid Empire, under the rule of Darius III, stretched its dominion from the Indus River to the shores of the Mediterranean. It was an era of grandeur and opulence, with Persepolis, the imperial capital, standing as a testament to the empire's unyielding power and sophistication. However, on the horizon, a new force emerged, one that would challenge the very foundations of Achaemenid supremacy. Alexander III of Macedon, known to us as Alexander the Great, had been making rapid inroads into the empire's territories, his military campaigns a masterclass in strategy and tactical brilliance. With each victory, Alexander's legend grew, and the Persian Empire found itself increasingly beset on all sides. As we navigate the complex tapestry of events leading up to the Battle of the Persian Gates, we find ourselves in the year 331 BC, with Alexander's army fresh from its triumph at Gaugamela, a decisive victory that had left Darius III fleeing for his life. The Macedonian king, driven by an insatiable thirst for conquest and a desire to claim the treasures of Persepolis for himself, now set his sights on the imperial capital. The road to Persepolis, however, was not without its challenges. The Persian Gates, a narrow mountain pass that controlled access to the city, stood as a formidable barrier, guarded by the satrap Ariobarzanes and a garrison of brave Persian warriors. This strategic stronghold, nestled within the rugged Zagros Mountains, would prove to be a crucial testing ground for Alexander's military prowess. With Alexander's army approaching the Persian Gates, the atmosphere grew thick with anticipation. The Macedonians, seasoned veterans of countless battles, steeled themselves for the fight ahead, aware that the conquest of Persepolis hung precariously in the balance. Meanwhile, the Persians, fueled by a deep sense of patriotism and duty, prepared to make their stand against the invaders, determined to protect their homeland and the legacy of their empire. As the Macedonian army approached the Persian Gates, they were met with a daunting spectacle. The narrow pass, flanked by sheer cliffs and treacherous ravines, seemed to swallow the very light around them. The air was heavy with tension, the silence punctuated only by the distant sound of rushing water and the soft murmur of the Persian warriors who lined the heights above, their eyes fixed intently upon the invaders. Ariobarzanes, the satrap of Persis, had chosen his ground well, exploiting the natural defenses of the pass to maximum effect. His forces, though outnumbered, were well entrenched, with layers of defensive positions that seemed to cascade down the mountain like a series of granite waves. The Macedonians, meanwhile, were forced to advance through a narrow defile, their movements constricted by the rugged terrain and the constant threat of attack from above. As Alexander's army began its ascent, they were met with a hail of arrows and rocks, which rained down upon them like a deadly storm. The Macedonian phalanx formation, usually so effective on the open battlefield, proved cumbersome in this confined space, where the narrowness of the pass made it difficult to maneuver. The Persians, meanwhile, seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Their guerrilla tactics, hitting and running, striking from unexpected angles, causing chaos and disruption among the Macedonian ranks. One of the most significant challenges faced by Alexander's army was the problem of supply lines, which were stretched to breaking point as they struggled to maintain a steady flow of food, water, and ammunition through the treacherous terrain. The Persians, aware of this vulnerability, targeted the Macedonian logistics with relentless ferocity, ambushing supply convoys and destroying vital infrastructure. As the battle raged on, Alexander's men began to feel the pinch of hunger and thirst, their energy sapped by the constant exertions of fighting in such a hostile environment. Despite these challenges, the Macedonians pressed on, driven by their king's unyielding determination to breach the Persian Gates. Alexander himself led from the front, his presence a beacon of inspiration to his troops as they struggled to overcome the obstacles that lay before them. As he climbed through the pass, his eyes fixed intently upon the enemy positions above, he seemed to embody the very spirit of conquest, his willpower and strategic genius proving more than a match for the formidable defenses of the Persian Gates. The turning point of the battle came on the 5th day of fighting, when Alexander's men managed to outflank the Persians by using a little-known path that wound its way around the base of the mountain. This clever maneuver allowed them to attack the enemy from an unexpected angle, catching the Persians off guard and forcing them to reorient their defenses in haste. As the Macedonians poured into the pass, their numbers seemed to swell like a tidal wave, overwhelming the Persian positions and sending Ariobarzanes' men tumbling down the mountain in disarray. As the Macedonians poured into the pass, their numbers seemed to swell like a tidal wave, overwhelming the Persian positions and sending Ariobarzanes' men tumbling down the mountain in disarray. The satrap himself was forced to flee, abandoning his defensive lines and leaving behind many of his soldiers to fend for themselves. The Macedonians, now in control of the pass, pressed on towards Persepolis, the capital city of the Achaemenid Empire, which lay just a few days' march away. The fall of the Persian Gates marked a significant turning point in Alexander's campaign, as it opened up the heart of the empire to his armies. The Macedonians were now free to march on Persepolis, where they would face little resistance and claim the treasures of the imperial palace for themselves. As they approached the city, they were met with a mixture of fear and curiosity by the inhabitants, who had heard stories of Alexander's conquests but had never thought that they would be affected by them. The city of Persepolis was eventually captured, and its famous palace was plundered and burned, an event that would later be seen as a symbol of the end of the Achaemenid Empire. The destruction of the palace was a devastating blow to the Persian people, who saw it as a loss not just of their material wealth, but also of their cultural heritage. As the Greek historian Arrian would later write, the burning of Persepolis was a tragic event, one that marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new period in the history of the ancient world. In the aftermath of the battle, Alexander's army continued its march through the empire, conquering city after city and incorporating their territories into the Macedonian Empire. The Battle of the Persian Gates was just one of many victories that Alexander would achieve during his campaigns, but it remains one of the most significant, as it marked a major turning point in the history of the ancient world. Today, the Battle of the Persian Gates is remembered as a pivotal moment in the history of the ancient world, one that marked the beginning of the end of the Achaemenid Empire and the rise of the Macedonian Empire. The battle is still studied by historians and military strategists around the world, who seek to understand the tactics and strategies employed by Alexander and his generals. As the historian Plutarch once said, the Battle of the Persian Gates was a masterpiece of military strategy, one that showcased Alexander's genius as a commander and his ability to adapt to any situation. The legacy of the Battle of the Persian Gates can still be seen in the modern world, where it continues to inspire and fascinate people around the globe. The battle has been immortalized in countless works of art, literature, and film, and remains one of the most famous battles in history. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.